All of this, I'm joined by KTVU political analyst Brian Sobel. Brian, thanks for joining us.
My pleasure.
Is this whack-a-mole because they recrafted this whole travel ban, really changed the language to try to make it palatable to the courts to get it enforced? It's supposed to take effect March 16th, I believe.
Yep.
What do you think? What's going to happen?
Well, we will see, but they, the White House lawyers and other people certainly recrafted the law to take into account what the judges said and to work their way around it. Now we will see whether, when they go back to court, whether it'll stand again.
So this will go back to a lower federal court and ultimately could still percolate its way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
Absolutely. And, for a couple of days we weren't hearing anything, and then all of a sudden Hawaii jumped in and said it would hurt tourism and a lot of other things, and then Washington, which led the way before, state of Washington, has jumped in as well. Okay,
another big story out of Washington is the health care bill that the Republicans are trying to get through right now. It's cleared the committees. It's going forward. Paul Ryan kind of did a big presentation today with charts and everything, had his sleeves rolled up, describing how this bill is going to help Americans.
Right.
The president's behind it, but not all the Republicans are behind it.
Well, I've said since the beginning, one of the president's biggest challenges is not just on the Democratic side of the aisle. It's Republicans also don't always agree with him, and in this case, there are 4 or 5 opponents that are Republicans who don't think the bill is ready for prime time yet. Now, what we're hearing out of Washington, D.C. is hold your horses. It's going to take a little time to work its way through the system. We'll learn more about it. But President Trump has to count on those Republicans because the majorities are so slim that you need Republican assistance across the board, and he may not get it. So we're going to see what happens here.
How soon will this all take to get to a point where the president or Paul Ryan are going to pull back and say, all right, let's try a different plan, if it doesn't get to where they want it to be?
Well, it's going to take days at least. I mean, what we're hearing out of Washington, D.C. is that some of this is floating it out there, seeing how people are responding to it. I mean, we have everything from this is Obamacare light to a revamped plan. It's probably a little of both.
You have hospitals, the American Medical Association, and AARP who've all come out against this plan. That's not a good sign.
No, and it means that there's going to be a lot more rolling up of the sleeves to make something that people can go along with. Although, for one side of the aisle and for a lot of people, the replacement is never going to be the right thing.
Okay, some other big news today. The FBI director went to the Capitol, met with some senior House and Senate leaders to talk about the latest on the investigation into potential ties between the Trump administration / campaign and Russia. Where does that investigation stand right now?
Well, all we can say is that, we don't know a whole lot about what the FBI is saying behind the scenes. You have 2 things at play. One is whether the Russians were involved in the campaign, and 2 is now the new charge by the president that perhaps the Obama campaign was involved in surveillance of the Trump campaign and wiretapping and that sort of thing. So what you have is a lot of stuff moving around. My contention is, Ken, that it really is distracting from major issues like health care and immigration and these other things that we should be really debating. It was very curious to watch some of the discussion around which ambassador, which people, which senators he had met with and that sort of thing. The fact is that the Russian ambassador, if he was doing his job, was meeting with as many people as he could and did on both sides of the aisle.
Right, and it's not a big deal for them to do that.
No.
They all do it, but the fact is he didn't disclose that when it was pretty clear that he had met with them.
Well, and his answer his answer was narrow. He said, I did not discuss with any Russian ambassador or anybody else the campaign.
Okay, we're talking about Jeff Sessions.
Yes, Jeff Sessions,
Brian Sobel, thank you very much.
Absolutely, Ken.
A lot to keep you busy.
Oh, yes.
It's hard to keep up with this White House.
No, it's a rapidly moving thing.
Yeah. Okay.